Welcome back. This is John Locke. Today I'm answering a question for SEO Q&A. And today's question is, if you have an audio transcription of a written piece of content, will that help SEO? So what they're asking basically is, if you have a written article and then you add a audio transcription, basically an audio file where a person is reading it out, will that help SEO? And I guess the inverse of this would be if you have a podcast episode, if you have a written transcription, will that help SEO? Now, the person goes on to say that they're concerned about scroll depth. And scroll depth, for those who don't know, is how far down the page people scroll. They're concerned that if people just click the audio file, that people will not scroll as far down the page, and that will hurt SEO. Okay, so I want you to imagine this for a second. In regards to, here's my answer. Imagine for a second that Google doesn't only look at the things that are in your Google Analytics or the things that are that you've traditionally heard are good for SEO, such as time on page or bounce rate or scroll depth or anything else like that. Imagine for a second that Google is actually trying to measure how satisfied somebody is with a page. And to that effect, if they get what they're coming to the page for, if they get what they're looking for, and Google is able to measure what actions you take on that page, such as clicking a play button or filling out a contact form or clicking on a button or something like that, if Google is able to measure those things accurately, would they be able to determine whether a person is satisfied with what's on the page or not? Because that's really what we're trying to get to. We're trying to figure out if Google is able to accurately measure whether people are satisfied with the page or not. And that goes for whether you have a podcast with audio transcription, like a written out transcription, or whether you have a written article that has somebody reading out the contents of that page in an audio file. Either way, it's going to be the same. You're offering it two different ways to crawl that information. Text is always easy to crawl, so that's going to be a more reliable thing. But when it comes down to whether the end user, the person who's coming to your page, is happier with it, keep this in mind. We did a video a while back about how Google might be measuring user signals, because some of the things that you tend to notice are sites that have better design and better user experience and are more user-friendly and those sorts of things. They tend to rank a little bit better over time than pages that don't. This leads me to believe, coupled with some other information, that Google, it probably can tell if you're clicking on the button of a audio file on the page, and so they're saying, oh, okay, that person is clicking on the audio file, and whether they're scrolling down or not, it doesn't matter, because they're getting what they came here for. Okay, so as long as you're getting, or the end user I should say, is getting what they came there for, then you're accomplishing your job. They're converting into something. They're clicking on the play file, or they're reading the entirety of the article. So those two things together, they can say, one or the other of these things happened, and the person that came to the site, that came to that page, they're getting what they came for. So my answer to this is no, it's probably not going to hurt your SEO to have an audio file. It's probably going to be a little bit better for user experience overall. Google is still going to crawl the text on the page. It's going to see that there's an audio file there. And believe it or not, they can probably tell if people are clicking the play button on that audio file. And then judging by the length of the audio file or the number of words on the page and the average reading time, they could probably determine how much of the article the end users consume on average, and therefore whether people are happy with that or not. So my answer would be, go ahead and put that audio file up. If you have a podcast episode, put that written transcription up. Give people a choice of how to consume that content. I think it's a good thing. It's not going to hurt your SEO. Don't worry about scroll depth if you have an audio file on a page, because as long as people get what they came for, it should be able to rank just as well. My name is John Locke. My business is Lockdown Design and SEO, and I'm here on a daily basis answering SEO questions. If you have a question, leave it in the comments below. I'll be here tomorrow. Until next time, peace.